Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? It's Kenshin, and today we're going to be talking about a very excellent prog rock album called 4:45 AM by a band called Ives, hailing from Chile. And first off, I must thank the band for being so generous as to send me a physical copy of 4:45 AM. It doesn't have the booklet in it because I've got it out right here, because as I've been listening to the album, I've obviously been enjoying the pastime of, going through the booklet and looking at the artworks and reading the lyrics along with the songs and stuff. And I was so very taken with it that I can't put it back in, because I like to just flip through and remember what I listened to and then immediately want to listen to it again. So we have our stalwarts of prog these days. You have a couple really big bands that kind of hold it all together when people think of it. You have Dream Theater. They're the #1 band that a lot of people think of when they think of, neo-modern prog. You have Haken, a band that's really made a name for themselves as in the past few years. You have bands like Porcupine Tree, who have shown themselves to be real talents. And a lot of these bands are bands that are, highly inspired by the prog eras of the 60s, 70s, 80s, that kind of stuff. And while those are good, especially a band like Dream Theater, I'm a big fan, as is Haken as well, I do enjoy their works, but I always felt that something was missing. And that something is something that Ives fully delivers on. The older style of prog never was about overwhelming you. It was about introducing something deep, something thoughtful to you, and something different and experimental for you to consider. And that's what Ives does. This is a very intimate album. It's a very warm album, it's a very emotional album, and it's a very heartfelt album. And it's something different than the mainstays of the progressive rock, progressive metal genre of the modern era. Ives has a real passion for their music, and it really comes through. Let's go track by track and sort of talk about what I mean here, because anyone can say that about any other band. First off, we have the title track being the opener, 4:45 AM. And already I love the way the instrumentation begins on this. It's got that late night, early morning feel that a lot of night owls like myself can hear and relate to and be like, yeah, that's that, that very, very, very beginning of the sunrise kind of feel, that calmness of the world feeling, openness to everything. And it starts the album off very excitingly, and sort of the band's message to everyone, and the album itself is almost a message, saying you can't let the bad things stop you, the things that get in your way, you just got to keep going. Everything that happens, the rejection makes you stronger. And, it's a great song to begin with. It's a very upbeat, up-tempo tune. And what I really like about it, that kind of strikes me about this album, and this song especially shows it, on the surface it's like, okay, this is a nice simple song, really easy. And of course, Ives, I do find, is a very easy to listen to band. They're very accessible, very enjoyable. Even for non-prog fans, they will find something excellent here. But with 4:45 AM, it begins simply, but then as you, get comfortable with it, as you get used to what's going on, they change it up on you. And things start to get interesting, they start to get technical, they start to get fun. And that's what I like. They don't immediately bash you over the head and say, hey, we're different. They bring you in there with something nice and comfortable, and then open up and show you, hey, this is what we got. And it really, really works, because for a while I was like, okay, this is nice, this is nice. And then when the more progressive sections of the song opened up, I got really excited and really enjoyed just the elements of timing and placement and pacing of the music that really shined. And again, the artworks that are chosen go wonderfully with it. But, one that struck me was the next track, an instrumental one called, excuse me if I butcher the track name, Galarda Yarura. And this, what struck me about this one, the artwork here, I'd like to show you, but, that's your incentive to go and buy the physical release, is so you can see these wonderful artworks. But what struck me here is that it reminded me, this was the first of many moments on the album to remind me of a certain theme, and I feel like they were going for this. It was a reminder of childhood. Because they didn't need to print lyrics with this, they were able to make this a nice 2-page spread on the booklet. And it's on the left page, you know, there's a young boy, you know, and the time on this, you know, because some of these artworks have timestamps on them, it's 4:02 a.m. And we even hear in the song through some spoken word, you know, the kid's up and his mom's like, what are you doing up this late? You know, you should be in bed. But again, this harkens back to a warm feeling, a memory of childhood. You know, you see the boy there, you know, obviously he's late night, he's got his wooden sword out, you know, ready to fight, he's a warrior, and, you know, looking at that kind of was striking to me, because that was me as a kid. You know, I still try to embody that now. The feeling of adventure, of being a hero, you know, and you see behind him on the right page of the booklet, you see a monster in shadow created, whether it be real or not. You know, you see your typical shadow monster with the trees and stuff behind him, whether it's light causing it, whether it's the trees out in the window. But, you know, the song's beautiful elements and the artwork really conjure up this awesome, fond, warm memory of the adventures of childhood when you are the hero and anything can be defeated. You know, he's up late at night being the warrior. You know, I thought that. I'm like, that's me. You know, and I really felt myself in a lot of this stuff. And, you know, it's more than just, obviously, the rock elements in there. There's also tasteful use of violins, of viola, and cello, and contrabass as well, which really works really nice, contrabass. It works really nicely and adds a very organic feel to the music. And it's not stuff that's just recorded and looped on. It's live, real stuff, so it also adds another very touching element to things. Continuing onward, we have Shallow and Daft. Now this actually has lyrics to it, and again, artwork, very striking here. You know, it's the DJ sitting in his office, you know, window open, you know, clearly, you know, morning kind of thing. You see the sun coming in, looking out over LA. He's playing stuff, and this song is highly reminiscent of Welcome to the Machine by Pink Floyd, which is ironic because the lyrics talk about, you know, a lot of bands sort of standing on old idols. But in this case, I don't think that that's what's going on. It's an inspiration thing, because it's sort of the idea of people selling themselves out to make the quick buck, to make the profit, and the people who listen are just brainwashed to it. How the musical industry does not have that passion to it anymore. How everything is just repeated, there's no taste, and everyone is just in love with the stars, you know, the idols. And it's dangerous. The people who have art are also the dangerous ones. And, you know, you kind of come to a point where you can't, your regret does not matter. And the darker tone of this song sort of 4:45 a.m. starts off at a higher point as far as the track goes, emotionally. And the rest of the tracks then follow, sort of start to dip into more darker, a little more depressive themes. Not depressive in a way where it's like Agalloch, like we want to make you depressed, but it's a very introspective, thoughtful thing that could conjure up some unfortunately negative emotions, but they're emotions that need to be dealt with and considered, which is what I like. And it's not done in an aggressive, malicious way. It's like we all, it's a feeling of being united. You know, it's oftentimes emotions, thoughts, words, and memories that we cannot put physical voice to, but they're things that we know and feel. And the music here and the lyrics here put a voice to these things that most oftentimes remain unspoken and are shown here. And something I really like at the end of the song, they do like this DJ style thing where, you know, you picture the DJ from the artwork next to it saying, you know, doing the whole "Good morning, Los Angeles," you know, it's the 8 o'clock hour of worship, bow down, you know, and that's the idea. People bow down before these pop stars, these rock stars of this day. You know, it's all for the money, all for the profit, and people don't care. It's worship, you know. And it also sort of, it's on the celebrities' side as well, which I quite like, where it's, you know, their lives are just ruined by this success, and the people just don't care. They want it. You know, it's take and take and take and take. And it doesn't matter what you regret, what you want. You know, are you proud of this? Are you proud of what you've come to? Will anyone ever get it? You know, and it really reminded me of Welcome to the Machine in its sort of more darker feeling thing, and in the message, and of course ever effective as always, and really sort of says, look, this is something we hate. We want to have that passion, and I really love that. Next one, Back My Strength. The artwork on this, again, caught me right away. So of a man standing outside of his car on a long stretch of open road, empty, looking out over a sunrise or sunset, over a long range of silhouetted mountains. And it's a song about, you know, taking that chance of the journey in your life, you know, and the fact that, there was a few lyrics here that I really like, one especially that really struck me. You know, the chorus of it being, "The night is long and blesses him who leaves if he leaves in tears." And there's a lot to that. You know, what does the leaving mean? And leaving in tears, leaving the things that hurt you and bind you and you have to get away from, having to leave to forge your own story even if it hurts. There's a lot to it, and it's saying, you know, I want to have my strength back. I want to be supported, you know. And again, it brings back that aesthetic of the long night, the peaceful calm of the night. And it deals with concepts of growing up and growing old and having to make important choices. The one lyric in this song that actually brought me to tears, which, you know, props to any music that can do that, is around the middle where he says, God, it's so good. It's a couple lines. It says, "Some things cannot be changed, and I'll be cursed and loathed, but I need to kill the man I have grown." And here's where it gets it. "And I only hope that there's a desperate child grasping at my soul. I must get rid of my conscience." The two lines, "I can only hope there's a desperate child grasping at my soul." That harkens back to the second track right there, the adventurous warrior child in the midst of the night fighting all the imaginary demons, and you could picture that as the song's going on. But, you know, this song deals with the hardships, the fact that as you get older, you sometimes don't like the person you've become, and you want to kill it, you know, how you're at odds with yourself, and sometimes you feel like you gotta get rid of your conscience in order to get somewhere because these bad thoughts are dragging you down, but at the same time they're trying to save you. And it accurately conveys a mix of emotions that could just drive a man insane with the feelings of it. And again, the music here is just excellent. There is such passion. The vocals are a unique style. It doesn't sound like something you've heard made 20 million times before. The vocals are excellent. And again, why I draw comparisons to Dream Theater and Haken or something like that is because while those bands are great, I feel like they contain a lot of masturbation in their music. It's like, we get it, you prog, you know, and they'll go on for 10, 20 minutes just, you know, doing their things. And like, that's why I didn't really care for the new Haken album, the Restoration EP, was because, you know, it just went on, and I did not feel this organic human connection to the music. Isles with 445 had me so very taken, so very into this music, so connected in such a very human, warm, organic way, so intimate. I felt like they were there with me, giving voice to my thoughts throughout life. The music is progressive, talented, technical, and beautiful, but saved for good parts. It's not like it becomes indulgent. It's not overcompensating where they're just constantly... It comes at proper moments and lets everything else breathe and feel human. After that, we have The Sacrifice, where again, it takes a downturn. Powerful artwork of someone's feet standing on a cliffside above an ocean. And this is a song about hurt. You know, how as you go through life, you feel like you can't, you don't know what's going on, you can't decide, you can't see, you can't reach out to anyone, you can't just hear, you are lost. And oftentimes how you may feel that others are responsible for that, and the anguish from it. And, you know, I love the aesthetic they use of the rain, the gray, how it feels like a sacrifice. The night falls, you feel so hurt, the stars may lead your way forward, but, you know, it just, the rain, the aesthetic of the rain with the gray artwork, again, conveys so beautifully a spectrum of emotion that no music I've heard prior to this specifically could. You know, it's like, we're touching on the themes of sad things, but this delves into it. You know, the members of this band really, really have a passion for what they're doing, and really thought long and hard and said, how can we take those wordless feelings, those wordless emotions and experiences, put them to music, put them to word. And that's what's created here. Some very powerful stuff, some very relatable stuff here. Because I know I felt like this many times, where I felt like I was someone's sacrifice. Like I was betrayed and hurt and didn't know where to go. After that, we have two nice instrumental sections, The Ship and intermission, which, as you can imagine, the ship is of a ship going through stormy oceans, and intermission is, it's a 2-page spread for, you know, one side's the ship, one side's the intermission, and the artwork to it connects, but the side of the intermission, one of the waves sort of spirals out into this awesome looking ordeal, and again continues this vibe, but also brings it back up with an excellent section where it's like, okay, you've had your downturn of emotions, you've had your lyrics, now let's just enjoy some proggy fun. And that's great, you know, the talent, the technicality that's introduced here, it's just, it is beautifully done. And then we go on to Sorrow. Then, you know, after we have our intermission to, okay, upbeat again. Now we have Sorrow, which goes to an emotional downturn again. And again, so very relatable. You know, the idea of the fog, you're caught in a fog. You feel like you're hurt, injured, you feel deserted, and you're trying to fight. It's not like this, it's not like the emo bullshit where it's like, oh, my life sucks, it's so bad, I don't know what to do. No, there is an energy to fight, but again, it conveys the feelings of just wanting to get up and fight, but just getting pushed back down, and just, it's such a frustrating experience where it all amounts to sorrow, where your efforts sometimes seem for nothing, and you just got to keep trying, even if it's so overwhelmingly awful as grief and sorrow rack you, and you want to just get rid of all of it, fill the hollow feelings. One segment again spoke to me was the spoken word moment, well, not spoken word, but the dialogue section, where it's between a him and a her. And of course, the artwork being the him, you know, it looks like a man crying up against a wall in an alley, just experiencing utter sorrow, again in gray. And, you know, he says to her, you got sunlight. And she says, I brought it for you. He says, but it's too late. She says, does that matter today? Says him, I've done things that I can't. You know, she says, what you can't forget, there's no blame. They say together, let's head somewhere that's safe to make this one a longer night. Again, powerful, at least for me. I experience quite a bit of sorrow, sadness in my life. I deal with depression. I lost my dad a few years ago. I've dealt with a lot of stuff. And a person who brings me my sunlight is my girlfriend Janine. Kyrie. You've seen her on the channel. And that lyric struck me, that you got sunlight. I brought sunlight for you. Let's go somewhere that's safe. It's self-explanatory. She is my sunlight. She brought it for me. And she wants to take me somewhere that's safe, where we can have our long night together. Even if I feel terrible, she will remain there to be my sunlight, to make me feel better. And that's the vibe that's here. Amidst all the sorrow, bookended here and there, you have this section of beautiful writing, and the music and the lyrics and the performance is top-notch. You know, you say the signs before, how could I not see this all coming to me? You know, could I have done something about it? You know, you just want to walk away from it. You want to say, this is what I'm feeling. And then Hero, a track that, you know, each song progressively gets longer. And this was another instrumental one, a nice 2-page spread in this. And it's not a full gray scale, but it's, you know, quite gray. You see a man sitting on a couch, and it's funny, you see a copy of the Odyssey by Homer sitting on his coffee table, and you see a picture that says the wharf that holds his vessel. That's slightly reminiscent of the ship's artwork in the booklet, but it's of a Viking ship. And the thing is, you know, you see in the window out there, you see a night cityscape. Again, I love the aesthetic of the night. I love it. And you see the man, you know, it looks like he's sitting there, he's got his hand clutching a rag full of blood, and the other hand he's got a knife, and there's a hole cut in his chest. That could say so many things, and it's cut in his side. That could say so many things. And a song called Hero. It's all instrumental. And the song does go up and down in emotional delivery and experience. And this is why I love the instruments and the writing. It's not just, hey, it's music, enjoy the music, hey, oh, watch this odd time signature. It is emotional conveyance going on here. It's the majesty and power of pure raw emotion put into progressive rock. It's great. And it feels oftentimes like a Pink Floyd style experience, which is wonderful, where you don't need to be overwhelmed. You don't need to be smashed over the head with these proggy things. All it needs is to take you on an experience. And that's what this does. As you're looking at the artwork, you wonder, why is this called Hero? It looks like this guy just tried to kill himself. Is he the hero? Did he cut something out of himself that was killing him? Is it symbolic? You know, why the blood? Because the blood is like actually the red. You know, it's like the Sin City style, black and white and red. And there's a lot here to consider. And I found, again, it spoke to me on a very emotional level. And then you have the 10-minute long closer, the final song of the album, the last epic, which is Melancholia. And this sort of is the wrap-up to everything. And where do you go after, you know, the references to childhood, the sadness of growing up and facing the cruel, harsh things around you? You go back to childhood again. And this works wonderfully. Again, this song, it spoke to me. It really did. And I loved it so much. You know, and before I even say about the song, the one thing that struck me, I was reading over the lyrics, and I noticed at the end, you know, it says, "To my mother." And, you know, me and my mom are really close. We had to be, you know, after my dad passed. I was close with my dad. And I think a lot of these things, you know, some of these songs where people are talking about those things, I sort of applied the meanings of this song to my dad as well, and my mom, because I still got my mom, and we're close, and we have to be, because they were all we got. But, you know, to my dad as well, because they both always believed in me. And this is a song about, you know, hearkening a little bit back to, you know, Back My Strength, where, you know, in the artwork, again, beautiful, a child standing outside at nighttime at 10:54 p.m. in a backyard, and, you know, the stars in the night, and the train that's talked about in the song sailing out over the sky. It's a very dreamlike experience looking at it. And it's a song about vulnerability. It's a song about being taken care of and loved amidst vulnerability. Whether with the strong heart and a dying soul, the healing, and the fact that life will come for you, whether you are ready or not. Things will pass you by. You know, it says, "I'm ready to grow, ready to fight, ready to stand, to stay alive and feel." And then, you know, it's this fast turn of phrase, fast going, and then you hear a child's voice, "Wait!" And sort of, it's the idea that everyone's so excited to grow up, to feel everything, to experience everything, to get out there and make yourself something. And before we know, we wished that we had waited. You feel the inevitability coming, and by the time we realize that we wished that we had waited, it's already too late. I was one of the fortunate few who knew that something wasn't going to be right when I grew up, and I wanted to enjoy my childhood. I never wanted to turn 4. I wanted to be 3 forever. I remember that. And, you know, a damn near 20-year-old me still wishes that, you know? I'm like, yeah, I had the right idea then. And as the song goes on, you know, the world is a train traveling at the speed of sound, but you don't think it moves. It's a stone drifting at the speed of light, but you're sure it will always move. And that's the thing. That's what we think of. We think, you know, that's never going to happen. You know, I thought going into high school, I thought, oh, no, high school, yeah, that's so long, forever. Going into college, oh, yeah, college, that's so far in the future. Next thing I knew, it was there. So we're in a state in our lives where we think, oh, we're never going to catch up to something. Time's going to take so long, I don't have to worry about it. But then all of a sudden when we're there, we realize, wow, you know, we are certain this will always move, but that won't always be the case. Time will not always be moving for us, you know. Even if it's too late for ourselves, you know, we can use our dreams to heal us, to keep going, because we can never, ever give up, give in to that sorrow. And, you know, again, the sky is the same, but look at me, I've changed. And that's, again, a powerful lyric. The world around us remains the same. We're the ones who change. Is it worth it? Is this worth all the pain that we go through? And that's sort of the last question on the album. It's a hopeful thing where it's saying, you know, it may be too late, but I'm still awake. I never put my dreams to rest, so now they can heal me. Dreams, what an important thing. If we don't have dreams in our lives, where are we going? If we don't have passion, where are we going? Can we have a passionless, dreamless life? Is it devoid of pain that way? Or is there more? Or is having dreams and passions the gateway to pain? It's a tough question, and the album wrestles with those things, and with the feelings of sadness and joy that they bring. The naivete of childhood, with the imagination and unbridled enthusiasm into dealing with the hard things. And, you know, all in all, this album was beautiful. It was almost an hour long, but it felt like it just went by like that. And that's great, and that's also awful, because I wanted more. But at the same time, it didn't overstay its welcome, and it was a riveting, enjoyable experience the whole way through. It was very easy to listen to, very enjoyable. You know, you could put this album on at any time and really feel it. Anyone could get into this. You don't need to be a prog fan. If you want to find out what prog is all about, you've always been curious, like, oh, what is this about odd time signatures and experimental stuff? This is a great place to drop in. If you are a prog fan, you must check this album out. You must check out Isles. They've got 2 other albums, aside from 4:45 AM, that I've not listened to yet. And I'm excited to give them a look now that I've been exposed to Isles through this album. And I gotta say, these guys have some serious talent. And I thank them and their PR manager so very much for sending me this CD. It was a very transcendent experience for me. I loved the music, I loved the lyrics, I loved the style, I loved the execution, I loved the aesthetic, and again, I love the intimacy. I love the organic, warm, emotional, human feelings, the pacing. It was all very excellent. It never tried too hard. It managed to still feel artistic and authentic, and that's what matters. It didn't feel like some studio-produced wonder. It felt like pure care, love, emotion, experience, sadness, grief, sorrow, joy, and everything went into this. You could hear and feel the passion on this album coming from each and every one of the band members, in the artwork, in everything. This is a must check out for any prog fan. I highly recommend it. And even if you're not a prog fan, you need to check this out, because it may convince you yet. If you're a music fan, if you are a human and you feel and breathe, you can relate to this. This album is a must for anyone. That's my feelings on that, and as for whatever Isles will continue to do in the future, please keep me updated, guys. I love what I heard here. I'm going to go back and explore what else has been done, and keep me updated. I'd love to know when new stuff comes out, because I'd love to be able to get that and share it even more with the world. You guys rock, and I hope to hear from you all soon, all of you commenters and any of the guys from Isles. You all rock. Your music was epic and beautiful. So passionate. I loved it, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to offer next. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm Kenshin, and I'm peacing out. I'll see you guys later.